Academically, you're one of three types of students. The genius that tops the class, the student that knows enough to pass, aka the average student, or the kid who has no idea what they're doing. And there was a time when I was the genius, and this is where the story takes place. It was my first term of 7th grade, and I'd gotten admitted into this Christian school, which I absolutely hated. Not saying there's anything wrong with those, but the amount of rules this place had was just fucking annoying, man. And most of them were unnecessary. Like, the school uniform was a white short sleeve shirt and white shorts. For seniors, it was a white short sleeve shirt and white trousers, except for the 12th graders, who wore a white long sleeve shirt and trousers. And then you had days where you had to wear either a cardigan or blazer, and you couldn't wear the wrong one, or you'd get your ass beat and sent to cut some fucking grass. And then there's the housewear for after school, except you have to put on the labor wear for labor, which was 10 minutes after lunch, and lunch was 10 minutes after school. You couldn't put on your labor wear for lunch because it's not time for labor. You needed to be on your housewear, and if you think you can make it back to the dorm to change into your labor wear in 10 minutes, you'd be wrong. So you'd have to go to labor in your housewear, and you'd be given extra work because you're not putting on your labor wear. And that was just the flipping dress code. Man, I hated that place. Good thing I only stayed a single term. One thing about school is that most people who don't take it as serious, they know they've got friends who are gonna help them come exam time. But being an introvert, I had nobody. So nobody had to tell me I had to take my studies seriously, my G. Especially cause my parents paid a small fortune in tuition. Black parents and failure, two things that do not go together, broski. So I always had my face in the book, and by the middle of the term, I was topping the fucking class, and it wasn't even like close, bro. I was miles ahead of everyone else, and the teachers were eating it up. They loved to see a kid doing so well, cause it gave them a credible basis to fucking roast all the other kids who'd been giving them hell in class. I was getting put in the spotlight, but it didn't really matter, cause I wasn't rubbing it in any of my classmates' faces or anything. That's the thing about being on top. It makes it easy for these to hate you, but not if you're on that Kendrick type humble shit. I never acted like I was above or better than anyone, so naturally, the other kids gravitated towards me. And one of them especially was this kid Paul. Now, Paul was that guy in the class that was not especially good academically, but excelled at everything else. He was good looking, confident, the best player on the soccer team, even amongst the seniors, and he really liked me. He was the one who pointed out to the other kids how humble I was, and about how another kid might not have been. And after sitting with him for a few weeks, I realized he was a really cool person too. But this guy was fucking horrible at anything inside of the class, bro. His math was a 0. His spelling was horrifying, and instead of asking for help, he kept saying, "I don't need to know this shit. You got my back in the exams, right?" No, Paul. No, I don't got your back. You know why? Because this was a fucking Christian school, and last year, 23 people got expelled for cheating in the exam. Do you know what my mother would do to me if I got expelled for cheating? No. Exactly. Nobody does. Because my body was never found. I tried to teach him all I could before the exams, but nothing I said stuck as he wasn't even listening and I couldn't deal anymore. Finally, the exams came and I was in my seat ready to ace that shit. Paul comes in late as usual and just manages to get in before the exam started. So we're all seated, question papers land, first paper is math. I opened it up and a huge smile appeared on my face. 20 minutes in and I'm done with the first section, moving on to the second. And Paul is just sitting there, like just staring at the questions, like he looked petrified by this basic math. And I'm like, this is not my business. So I kept doing my work, and the very last question was one I did not immediately know the answer to. This question held the highest marks too, so I was trying to figure it out. And then, Ola, come help me, I beg. I don't sabi anything, I beg. Ola, if I bang this to my pops, you go come on my head, I beg. And I'm just sitting there too scared to even answer, cause the supervisor for our floor just walked in, and it was our absolutely smoking math teacher. If she even saw a neck just move, your exam was basically over. And secondly, this woman was pretty much in love with me ever since I passed the surprise math test. She'd randomly buy me stuff when she was coming to class, and every single time she saw me, she would say,
I know you're gonna score 100 on my exam. You come by my lodge and we'll grade these other idiots' papers together. Can't wait.
There was no way I was gonna mess up my chance to get to those algebra cheeks, my guy. I don't care what you think, the n*** can drink. Ola, I beg, no do me like this now, guy. You be my G, we don't take for this side now. My popsy go finish me. I go to York Agbado for bus stop next time. Ola, I beg. All my attention was on getting that last question correctly, because that was the only thing standing between me and premium algebra cheeks. Then I noticed he'd stop begging me, and when I looked, he had a phone under the locker, googling the answers. I don't even know how he was able to get a phone in, but I was shook because if he got caught, I'd get roped in too. And then he slides me the phone with the answer to the last question on it. Even after I'd ignored him, he was still looking out for me. This guy was a true bro. He managed to finish his old paper, and now he was waiting for me to finish up too. It was the first time I'd ever cheated on a test because my parents had made me believe that nothing was more important than your own hard work, except algebra cheeks. Duh. So I finished up the question, we ended the exam, and everybody went on their way. Next day was English. We're all seated, and just before the exam started, our math teacher walked in and said,
You all did well in your math exams, some better than others. But I assure you, if you cheated on that exam, your time at this school is up. If your name is called, proceed to the principal's office.
I froze in my seat.
Deji Prince, Emmanuel Gideon, Anthony Smith, and Paul Carson, principal's office.
Huh? I didn't hear my name. I wasn't caught. I was just as guilty as those other guys, but I got away with it. And then she said,
Ola, come over to my lodge after your lunch today, would you?
In that moment, it was all worth it. Some of our classmates thought I was the one who snitched, but it didn't matter. I felt like I just pulled off a heist. I escaped after cheating on the test, and I was gonna get to clap them algebra cheeks. Fairy tale ending. After lunch, I got dressed in my best housewear, all fresh and shit, you feel me? And I went to her lodge, knocked on the door, and my fucking English teacher came out shirtless. Ola, hey, what are you doing here?
Babe, who's that?
It's Ola.
Oh, Ola, right on time. Come on in.
You know the most painful part about all of this? It wasn't the fact that my English teacher was smashing the love of my life. It was the fact that these two were treating me like some kid. They didn't even try to hide what they were doing because to them, it wasn't supposed to matter to me. It was grown-up stuff. So I basically graded the entire 7th grade math myself. And as for Paul, I don't know, man. I never saw that nigga again. And I switched schools after the first term. So the real lesson from the story is that real life is very different from the hub. And your teacher is probably not gonna smash you.